What's on Your Mind is sponsored by ACMC 339 Dudley Road, New Star Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam.
Good afternoon. How you doing? Welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. My name is Carl. The program is produced by Breakthrough TV at gmail.com. So how you doing? I want to say thanks to all you guys who've been tuning into the program over the last couple of weeks. It's been quite a while. It's been quite a journey. And I know a lot of you guys have been enjoying the program. Let me say thank you. Also, those lorry drivers all the way up there in Canada. Let me say thank you for tuning into the program. Also, some lorry drivers in the United States as well. Thank you. I don't know how you watch this when you're driving, you know. Also, my colleagues there in Jamaica. How you doing, Jamaica? Hope all is well. Also, at home. I got to tell you, the weather is a little bit strange today. It hasn't been too bad. And we're heading towards the spring. I love the spring, you know, so we're heading towards the spring, which it's been absolutely marvelous. We're in March now, so it's another month. But it's absolutely marvelous. So, as I said, the weather's not too good today. We're having a lot of rain, but you got to expect that in March and April anyway. So, and when it happens like that, things start growing anyway. So, you got to have water for things to be growing and all that sort of stuff. So, we say welcome to another program in the series of What's on Your Mind. And in the studio with me this afternoon, I've got a wonderful guest. And his name is Rudolph. How you doing, Rudolph?
Evening.
How was your journey here?
Not too bad. Things were a bit delayed with public transport, as normal. Say no more on that one.
You mean you was late?
Well, I would blame public transport. I'll stick with that.
And you know how I feel about being late. You know my time I'm late. So what do I call you? Rudolph or Rudy or whatever? Because you say you got a nickname, haven't you?
Yeah, from the early age of 11, if not before that. But it came out more as I hit that age, and it stuck.
What age is that?
11. And people have called me Rudy since then.
Is that because you're a rude boy, or was it because of the rude boy songs?
Apparently that's why it was given to me, and you know, people say that, you know, I was a bit mischievous.
You was a bit mischievous. You used to get into a lot of trouble.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Just a bit.
And you're a businessman also. You're a businessman. What do you do?
I do a small business, printing banners and flyers.
Okay.
It's a bit slow at the moment. It's still upgrading, and we're taking a new step over the next couple of months as people would begin to see some of my stuff on display as they are around the Birmingham area and beyond. Yeah. And I'm adding a new collection to that. That's great. Which can't wait to get out there.
Yeah, we wish you all the very best.
So far, the response has been good.
Marvelous, marvelous. So, guys, as you know, I'll leave you there for a while, Rudy. As you know, I always look at a few things that is actually happening around the world. And the big one, as you know, is the war in Ukraine. Heavy missiles been hitting Ukraine, hitting different parts of the city. And Boris Johnson has said Putin is committing war crimes. So that's and I say there's been heavy missiles, heavy bombing, and I think they've actually got one of the major city in the south of the country. You know what I mean? And as I say, there's 40 line of, you know, armored vehicle for 40 miles actually heading in to Ukraine. And the other thing a lot of people have been saying, you know, how come the Americans hasn't got involved yet? That is a question, because generally we see Americans going and bombing people or bombing countries. I don't know what's happened. But is it because of the nuclear thing? Yeah, I think that's probably because of it. Yeah, let me move on. Now, over 50,000 has been raised for African students who's been fleeing the troubles in Ukraine. Some have come under racist abuse. Some have come under racist violence. They've been stopped from going onto trains and buses and cars. Even locals, people, some of the African students and the Nigerian students actually claim that locals is actually driving around and hurling abuse at them and that sort of thing. So that sort of thing is taking place over there. The Nigerian embassy has actually talked to the Polish, because they have to go over the border to Poland as well. And he's actually talked to the Polish embassy, and the Polish embassy had denied it. But when generally, when somebody denies something, it means 8 out of 10 times there's something in that story, and there's something is right. So I'm going to have a rant about that later, so you stay tuned. And as I said, a lot of people is not talking about this, but you can't just look at one side of one thing that's going on and don't look at another side of what is actually going on. So we're going to have a little rant about this later on. Yes, Rudy?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah.
That we shall.
You shall have a rant to that. Now, let me move on. Sasso Johnson, as you know, the case against, I think, 5 men has collapsed. And the party that she was actually a member of has said no justice has been done. Also, her family has also said no justice has been done, and they will be fighting for justice. I say the activists, the Black Lives Matter activists, was attempted murder on her life, and she's still in hospital, still very critical. And it's only like last week we start seeing more reports on her, because for some time we've been wondering what's happened to Sasso Johnson, what's happened to Sasso Johnson, and this happened last year. And we've been actually wondering what happened to Sasso Johnson, how we haven't heard anything about it. And finally, the case has collapsed, dropped, whatever. And I guess, my apologies, not dropped, but the case has collapsed, so there has to be more investigation coming in to get more evidence to deal with this. Yeah, we hope so. And we hope her family can get some justice very soon. Now, my next story is, yes, 3 ex-policemen has been convicted of violation in the killing of George Floyd. And in the fact, and I've always said this, in the fact that these guys was actually standing around while George Floyd need medical care, and he never get it. So these 3 officers now has been convicted of not allowing George Floyd to have medical care, because when the murderer Chauvin was standing on George Floyd's head, yeah, I always say that, they should have gone over and stop it or make sure he has medical care. And that's what these 3 officers has been convicted of. Yeah. And I gotta say, it's good to see that, because generally sometimes they just, it just goes nowhere.
That's
Generally
right.
It just goes nowhere. So I am actually glad to see something has been actually done within that case as well as Chauvin has been convicted anyway. He's in prison. Some say he's gonna get out early, but we'll have to wait and see how that one goes. Now, let me move on. Now, this is in Jamaica. Jamaica. You know, I always say Jamaica when I get to Jamaica. I love saying that. Yeah. Now, the Gleaner. Now, I don't know what was going on here. I don't know what was going on here. The Gleaner. 2 cops. One of them was in a fuss at Vale Royal House. Now, Vale Royal, as you see, is a beautiful house. And Vale Royal is the Prime Minister Andrew Holney's residence. He doesn't live there all the time, but it's his residence. Now, 2 cops got in a fuss at that house. And they shoot. One shot the other one. Can you imagine? It's a good job the Prime Minister wasn't at home, because I don't know what he would have done. Could he stop the that thing? And I don't know what the police officer was actually doing. They got in a fuss. Can you imagine? 2 police officers got in a fuss at the Prime Minister's home. It's not allowed, is it?
No.
I don't know what they probably was taking or what that was on. Why don't you come outside and wait till you come out and where you finish work? Why do you want to get in fuss at the PM's home of residence? I wonder what the PM's going to say as well. Prime Minister Holness. I know Prime Minister Holness has been under a lot of attacks this time, you know what I mean? So he's been under a lot of attacks from different reasons. And one of the things he's been under attack as well, because I've been actually watching a couple of news reels coming in from social media, and one of the things as well, a lot of Jamaicans actually hitting out on PM Honus for the fact in a statement that he made a statement about, you know, what is going on in Ukraine, because he's totally giving support, which is inevitable. He's totally giving support to Ukraine, you know what I mean, and he's totally giving support to the Americans, Ukraine, and he's standing what we call, they say, shoulder to soldier with the American and the American allies and the European allies. So he's standing shoulder to shoulder with them. Now, a lot of people saying, well, that shouldn't be happening because you don't know what could happen next. Because you don't know if Russia's going to drop a bomb next. And them say, we only a small island, you know. So Jamaicans are clever, you know, because Jamaicans want to say, when you say something else about Jamaica, Jamaicans say, we're a big island. But when they're ready, they turn it around. I can say that because, you know, I mean, you know what I'm going to say next, anyway. But I can say that. When they're ready, they turn it around and says, oh, we're only a small island. And then they say, and when you turn around and say, oh, little Jamaica, don't call us little, we're a big island. I know. So, as I say, the PM Honus came under a lot of pressure. A lot of people says, he want them to go sink this island. He want trouble here. We don't have atom bomb, you know. We don't want no atom bomb. We don't want no nuclear weapons here. We don't want none this here. So that's what's been going on social media. Let's see where it goes next. Now, let me move on to my next story. Wonderful lady, Katenge. Brian Jackson be nominated for the first African woman Supreme Court Justice. If she wins, Joe Biden has, you know, nominated her. If she wins, she will be what we call top of the tree. She will be the top judge in America. Now, a lot of people don't want this. Allegedly some of the other side, you know, the Donald Trump side, they don't want this. You know what I mean? And they try to oppose it. But we hope she gets the job, you know what I mean? As I said, she'll be top judge, and that will be absolutely marvelous to see. Yeah, so I'm going to say, yeah. You don't know what she's going to do, you know, when she gets up. Because when you get to the top of the tree, you know, you have to be at the top of the tree. Yes. Now, also, I'm going to stay with Jamaica for a little while. Now, Jam Dex is the new digital currency for Jamaica. And it actually moved Jamaica into the digital era. The new name comes from Jamaica Digital Exchange. And the name actually comes from the Bank of Jamaica have announced. So that should be interesting to see where it actually takes Jamaica and how it works and what they will actually do with it. And will it make the country any richer? Will it make the country really, really rich? And I know that you say, oh, well, what does it matter? Well, I think it does matter because most things are coming into the digital era now. So I think it does really matter, you know what I mean? So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget as well, this is a live program. What you see now is what you're getting. I'm coming to you directly live from where we're actually broadcasting. So as I always report to you, if you see a little bit of this, or if you see a bit of that, it's a live stream. We don't edit the program. The error is coming to you directly. So if you see I have to go step out the camera and put my makeup on, which I don't. I'm cracking him up. He's laughing. If you see, I gotta put up my lipstick. I don't wear lipstick, but yeah, if you see, I gotta go put my lipstick on. I scratch my face. My hair gets to my eye. It's a live stream. I got time for that. Oh dear me. Let's move on to sports. Now, sports. Now, Sonny Ramadine, West Indian legendary spin bowler, has died at the age of 92. Ramadine did fantastic for the West Indies, yeah. And he was in like the first series victory in England in 1950. He was the first in that series that West Indies win for the first time in England, and in 1950. He's also a hero of the Windrush generation. He was born in Trinidad and Tobago, you know what I mean? And I always remember that there was a time when there was actually saying Ramadan and Valentine, yeah? And I think he's actually the same character. There was a song actually made about this man as well. And it's been 70 years since they've actually won that the very, very first competition. And I say he was a hero to the Windrush generation. And he's actually last of the West Indian in that very, very first test. He was the last survivor, you know what I mean? So we say maximum respect. Thank you, sir. You did great. And maximum respect to your family, yeah? Nice. Now, football. Liverpool has won. What did Liverpool want?
They won the Carboni Cup.
The Carboni Cup, yeah. I know you see, because I know you're a football man.
That's right.
And what did they want?
The Villa.
Up the Villa.
Sorry.
Up the Villa. So, what was the score then? If you're such a Villa fan, what was the score?
Well, it was a brilliant game to watch.
Yeah.
End to end.
Yeah.
And it went to penalties.
We went to penalties, yes.
And it was 20 penalties.
Yes.
Yeah, 10 each.
Yes.
And where it come to a close where the goalkeepers, they ran out of players.
They were out of players. So the goalkeeper went a square?
Yeah. Basically, the Liverpool keeper stepped up and he scored the winning goal.
Marvelous. So it becomes to 11-10, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Brilliant game, end to end.
End to end.
Yeah.
I never see that because I know you're a football man.
Yeah,
so that's why I thought let's check his football knowledge. So let me move on to entertainment. Yeah. As I say, congratulations to Liverpool there. Now Savannah. Savannah has brought out a new single. It's very sultry, soulful, very sexy. And Savannah has actually taken control of the mic once again, you know what I mean? Good to see that because I think she was in a little bit of accident with some things going on there, you know? So it's good to actually see she takes control of the mic and doing very well. The track is called Brand New and it's an original track, yeah? And I used to love that Savannah tune, Mango. Have you heard that one? I haven't had a Mango for ages, but my tune was Mango. And that was a very, what do you call a very, very nice track. So I do love that track, you know what I mean? Let me move on now. So, to the UK. The Wireless Festival comes to the UK. And it hasn't been here for a while. Nicki Minaj, Dave, Cardi B, and quite a few more artists comes on the lineup. And it takes place the 1st of July and the 11th of July. And there's 2 places in London that is actually being held. And also, it comes to Birmingham, NEC. The thing about it, you know, coming to Birmingham now. Now, I got to say this. I don't think there's any Birmingham artists that's been lined up on that list, which is a little bit disappointed. You know what I mean? It's a little bit disappointed when there's no Birmingham acts or no Birmingham artists that is on the... I haven't heard of one at the moment, you know. And this is what I do. So I haven't actually heard of an artist from Birmingham who is actually going to be on the list. I don't know if you've heard of anyone.
No.
No.
I actually went to the last time it was actually here when it was down at Alexander Stadium.
Yeah, that was quite a few years ago, wasn't it?
Yes,
that's where the Commonwealth game is coming now, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
It was interesting because it was you know, you had Pharrell and most of them were, as you said, out of Birmingham.
Yeah.
There's no Birmingham artist or supporting artist. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they need to step up in that area because there's so much talent, as you know.
That's right.
Yourself,
right.
for instance, we could get you on there, mate. Hey? But, yeah.
Thank you.
But, yeah. More Birmingham artists.
They should put some more, you know what I mean?
Now, there is also a rumour, I'm not sure, I haven't searched this one out, but apparently UB40 is supposed to be either closing the Commonwealth Games, the ceremony, or opening it.
UB40?
Yeah. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard that. Which UB40 though? Because
well, that's a very good question, mate, because I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure which one.
Because I said that's two UB40.
That's right.
And what about the Commonwealth Games? Are you going to the Commonwealth Games?
Hopefully, I would like to.
Yeah.
I haven't done no research for tickets or anything like that.
I think you can actually do.
Well, I'm thinking of trying to get my badge back.
What badge is
Because
that?
I used to do security, so...
Well, they're actually looking for some workers there as well.
That's
aren't
right, they are. So mine will be a refresher course to get back in it, basically, and see where...
And you're not too far from where that is either, is it?
No, I'm not too far from there. So I would say to a lot of youngsters to get involved. You know, it's an ideal opportunity for youngsters to get involved in something on their doorstep. And this is something I always try to let people know to get involved, because it's once in a lifetime.
Okay, what sport would you like to see? What sport would you like to go? If you're going to say there, what sport would you like to see?
Mine is more athletics.
Athletics.
Yeah. I'm a sprinter, so...
You're a sprinter?
Used to be.
Used to be a sprinter.
Back mash up, no. No good, man.
You mash up your back.
But, you know...
So you don't jog anymore, though?
No, I like going to the park daily, but the jogging's out now.
The jogging is out?
Yeah, it's a couple of brisk walks around 5 times maybe, but that's it.
You know, I got to give thanks because I can still able to jog. You know,
yes.
'cause you know that, yes?
Yes, you and my brother are pretty close in that area.
I can still able to jog, you know what I mean? So it's
I
marvelous.
can, but you know what I mean? I just tend to take it easy.
What I like to do, I like to go back to swimming because I used to swim regularly. I mean, when I sort of in my very early days when I lived in England, I used to do a lot of swimming and all the rest of it, and those sort of stuff I used to do in my early days. Anyway, now it's my rant time. You know, I've reached my rant, and I need to sit up in my rant because we're on our own. We're not taking Africans. We are stopping Africans. All words coming out from Ukraine. As Nigerians and Africans and Caribbeans complain about racist treatment they've had since the war has broken out in Ukraine. They've been stopped from getting on bus, trains, and that sort of thing. They've also, Ukraine has locked their hands together, stopping them from getting onto trains. Now, these people have been left at the border. Not a lot of people are talking about this, but it's there. It's there, you know what I mean? You just have to look, and this is not a made-up thing. It's there. You just have to look. If you look at the big news, but they haven't been saying a lot about it. I suppose they don't want to say a lot about it because there's so much going on anyway, but it doesn't matter. You see, now, Russia is oppressing the Ukraine, and we all support the Ukraine. What they're doing in Ukraine is disgusting, it's terrible, it's inhumane. So Russia is oppressing the Ukraine. And some Ukraine people are oppressing the Africans. So they're doing sort of exactly the same thing. Everybody has a right to live. So they actually do exactly the same thing when you look at things like that. There's people who's been left at the border, freezing in the cold. Not people, Africans. You know what I mean? And these people are not criminals. They're just trying to get out. And if it was in a situation where you could say women and children first, we could see women and children first, whether they be Africans or they be Europeans. You know what I mean? But they're not. Very, very rarely letting any Africans getting on the train. We have a look at this, and let me see if I can play you this. Yeah. Let me see if we can play this and show you what is going on. Yeah. So here you are. And you see, they're all trying to get on a train here. As if we can have a look at this report here. They're all trying to get on a train here. Yeah.
Flooding out of the country. Amongst them, Africans that hail from everywhere from Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria to Morocco and Ivory Coast. More than 20% of Ukraine's international students are Africans. Some say that many non-white people have been prevented from boarding buses and trains, refused entry into Poland, been forced to give up their seats, and been threatened with violence while stuck at borders.
It was a very terrible experience for me. Like, last 10 days in Ukraine was very, very difficult for me. Like, it wasn't what I was expecting. The military there was very mean. They were just so mean to us, like as if we were no humans. No food, nothing, no support. It was just on your own. All they did was go to your embassy. If your embassy is not there, the rest they leave it up to you. We worked for like 12 hours with no food and nothing. You just have to. That was one of my worst experiences. Like, the soldiers that was on duty that day was mean. They were just so heartless. Like, they treated us like animals totally. So they started chasing us away, hitting us with wood, and even you can see they even hit my leg right here.
Now, there are also some reports of
Now these people have to walk days without any help. They get no help from anywhere else, you know what I mean? And I say, this is degrading. This is inhumane. This is disgusting. We are all part of the same human race. Yeah? And as I say, all these people are trying to get out, you know what I mean? They're trying to get out. They're trying to get on the train. They're trying to make themselves safe as well. And then yet you have Ukraine people saying, oh, no, you can't get on. No Africans coming on this train. No African getting on this train. But people have to walk ages to get no help at all from nowhere. And this is actually disgusting and this is inhumane. And they say, what they're actually doing, they're being suppressed by the Russians. And they're in turn turning around and suppressing the Africans. Now let me tell you something now, right? Now, I know a whole lot of Africans, a whole lot of African Caribbean has get down on their knees 1,000,000 times to pray for stopping the troubles in Ukraine. Yeah. When you see the elder, the young people, the Christians, I'm talking about Africans now, the people is doing it now, but everybody get down on their knees, you know, and sending up prayers for Ukraine, to help Ukraine, to sort out Ukraine, to stop this thing that's going on. Yeah. And when you see things like that, you wonder what is going on. When you see racist things like that is going on, you know what I mean? Somebody said to me, we shouldn't be surprised because we see Ukraine, when Ukraine footballers played, you know what I mean? We see them giving racist abuse to players as well. So somebody says to me, why are you surprised? But you don't expect this in a war. You don't expect this sort of thing to be happening. You know what I mean? You don't expect, people trying to flee, and you're trying to hold them back. As I say, the Nigerian president actually complained because they have to go to the Polish border as well. The Nigerian president complained to the
Embassy.
the Polish embassy. Yeah. And when he complained, they actually said they denied it. They said it wasn't happening. Now 9 times out of 10 that you know when somebody denies things, 9 times out of 10, yeah, it's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I read a very touching story regarding the student that's been locked in the campus.
Yeah.
So her and several colleagues of hers, more students, they were in a bunker.
Yeah.
Hiding. And this was last week.
Yeah.
They are out now.
Mm-hmm.
But the mere fact is that they can't get no money. They can't get no food.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know where to turn. She just doesn't know where to go from there.
Yeah.
It's very touching, and there is plenty more stories from the African
That's
students
right.
that are out there.
Yes, that's right.
Without no form of help.
Yes, that's right. As I said, I saw it in the press this week. 3 ladies in London actually saw one of the very, very early videos. And there's a lot more videos that's circulating, you know what I mean? There's a lot more stuff that is actually circulating. 3 ladies from London. And what they've actually done, they caught very, very first clip of this that was going to, even the president of Nigeria has seen this clip, you know? And they were saying that what we decided to do, that we decided to set up a charity to earn some money, see if we can help these people for taxes and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think they said they actually reached £50,000, you know what I mean? It helps, you know what I mean? It's not a great deal of money, but it helps. And I think that is help to paying for taxes to see if African students are, you know what I mean, those of African origin can get out of...
They're getting a raw deal, and something needs to be done. The authorities out there, or need to step up and do what they need to do.
All the embassy in Ukraine or the embassy at the border has to say, listen, stop this, stop what are you, tell his own people them, stop this, you know what I mean? That's all he has to do. You know what I mean? That's all the embassy has to do. You know what I mean?
Easier said than done, that one.
I know.
Easier said than done.
I know, but you know what I mean? As I say, it's a very, very disgusting situation, and as I say, I don't know what's going to happen. The problem is this war as well. We don't know how long this war is going to go on.
Well,
You know what I mean?
that's the other issue now. Where you know, how long is this going to go on for?
Yeah.
And the suffering for all of the Ukrainians, as well as the African students that have got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, my heart goes out to them guys that can't get from A to B like they would like to.
Yeah. And you see, it's like one of them things, you know. We used to see when you go back in the Second World War with the English and the Germans, you know what I mean? Yeah. And the Caribbean people.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the Caribbean people was helping the English, or the British, the United Kingdom, right?
Yep.
But they were still under pressure
Yes.
from, and even though the English was under pressure from the Germans, it's a cycle.
That's right.
The English was under pressure from the Germans, right? And you see the Caribbean people was helping the English, and the Caribbean people was under pressure from the English. So it is a cycle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is a terrible cycle, and it's inhumane and it's disgusting. You know what I mean? What else you want to tell me about?
Well, as long as this goes on,
Yeah.
we're talking about fuel prices, energy, as well as, you know, your normal petrol, you know. Now, France, Italy, Germany, they get theirs from Russia.
Yeah. Well, that's
Now, this has been going on for 2 weeks now. They already raised the petrol here.
Yeah.
And yet we're not part of, you know, that issue. But yet they used it, the British government has used it as a stepping stone just to hike the prices.
Yeah.
Which, you know, as if things ain't bad enough already.
That's right.
And yet they're set to go up. And they are still going up.
I think, what is it now? £1.50 something, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think diesel £1.50 something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The last I actually checked it. You know what I mean? So.
And April hasn't even landed yet.
Yeah. So everything.
Because, you know, that's when the increase is due to go up.
And it was already expensive.
Yes.
Was it expensive before that? You know. And the other thing, you know, what sort of sometimes annoys me, is the fact that during the lockdown, I've said this before. During the lockdown, the demand wasn't there, so the price was down. Yeah. And now because the demand was there, they pushed the prices back up again. And even when the prices came down, when the barrel was down at a low price, they still had the prices at the pump, which was very expensive.
Yeah. The British government, they've taken more U-turns than Spaghetti Junction. You know, we've seen what's been going on for the last 2 years plus.
Yeah.
And it's not getting no easier. And they're just failing to sort things out.
And Boris has escaped again, hasn't he?
Oh. Don't get me started on him. Don't get me started on him.
Boris has escaped again, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, as I said to members of my family and friends, there's so many things that stuck out in my mind when it comes to the housegate parties. Sorry to bring it up, but it's got to be spoken about.
The what party?
And the parties in Downing Street, as they put it. And I kept on listening, and one date kept on sticking out in my mind. The 20th of May. The 20th of May. That I do believe was the day before the Queen buried her husband. No, that was the day when I actually laid my mother to rest. So that date was resonant in my mind. And I can't understand. Of May 2020, yep.
Okay. Is it gone
It's been going on that long.
I didn't realise it gone so quick, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't realise he had I just thought about I didn't realise, you know.
Yeah. And they're still answering questions about it now. And that's what I don't understand. They're still taking questions, and this questionnaire that was sent out for him to answer questions, it's just beggars belief that he's still in his position.
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. But you know, I've always said, and I've said this many times, and a lot of people see what I've been talking about. After looking at some of British politics over the years, it is very, very difficult to get a sitting prime minister out.
Well, we've
Especially
seen that.
especially speaking about it.
Yes.
Now, if you come out, you live in this country. You
Yeah.
was born in this country. You see the same thing with Maggie Thatcher.
Yes.
There was also another guy. Who was the guy who was after Maggie Thatcher? They couldn't get out. They couldn't get out as well. There was another guy. There was another prime minister. But it's very, very hard to get rid of a sitting prime minister.
John Major.
Yeah, very, very hard to get rid of a sitting prime minister. You know what I mean? And they say we see the same thing with Maggie Thatcher. And once they're sitting there, once they're there, like you know, what I mean, they twist and turn and something there.
Yeah.
And
They're very good at that.
yeah.
Talk about broad shoulders. They've got more shoulders than Arnie.
Yes, sir.
So, but yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? We see now. I said we see the America. I mean, they're giving them sanctions, right? They do sanctions. You know what I mean? What do you think? What more effect can we see to put this closer to this war?
The sanctions, as we've seen,
Is working.
as to why he went in,
Yeah.
the following day after those sanctions were given out,
Yeah.
because he doesn't care.
Okay.
He doesn't care about that. That isn't going to topple him,
Well, I don't think so neither.
you know?
I'll tell you one of the most silly sanctions I got. And this is no respect to anybody, but the first, it's not funny, but I can't help it. The first sanction I hear, and I think this was a silly sanction, the one about the Eurovision Song Contest. we're gonna pull out of the Eurovision Song Contest.
Well, that is something we don't have to worry about.
And I thought, come on.
But you know what I mean? We don't have to
come
worry
on,
about
we
that.
gotta get serious for God's
We
sake.
haven't won it since 1973.
Yeah, and the first thing we're not gonna allow Russia to take part in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
I didn't know Russia was that close to Europe anyway.
And they keep on pushing on with the sanctions
Yeah.
as he keeps on pushing closer to getting into where he wants to get to get into, you know, and it's not deterring him from doing so.
You think because of the fact he's got nuclear that nobody sort of wants to they're worried about he may start a war now.
That is on everybody's mind.
That is it, isn't it?
Is he going to?
Yeah.
You know?
They don't know there. And we see, I mean, come on, we see Americans, if this was Iraq or Libya, America would have gone in there, boom, and dropped.
Well, he's
because
already-
America fight the war from the year, doesn't it?
He's already been going on about you guys from the West. You guys from the West. You mess with me and you're all in it.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. So we've had all of these close measures regarding people coming over to the UK and, you know, sprinkling X, Y, and Z here and there around the country,
Yeah.
you know, and you just don't know. We've got spies running around.
What about then? Do you think could be the start of World War III?
Well, that's a big question, and I would hope not, but it's not looking good at this present.
Yeah. You sound
the
like the prophet of doom there.
The United Nations, you know, which we're all a part of, or most people are a part of, it's going to be a very bloody war.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know.
If it's got to be what it's got to be, you know what I mean.
My concern as well. Now, just like how people getting out or trying to get out, they're keeping all the men. They're only allowing mothers and children to travel.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now,
I wasn't aware of that.
these people, i.e. African students, that can't get out,
Yeah.
and this escalates,
Yeah.
what's going to happen with them? Are they going to be made to pick up arms and fight on their behalf? That is a question that's always going to be at the back of my mind.
Yeah. But a very good question. A very good question.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the answer. I wonder if and this is a cruel thing to say. I wonder if the West, you know, is sort of gonna let them ruin the country, and they don't do nothing, and then think probably Russia will back off them once they get what they want, because it looks like it's playing that way, doesn't it?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Get what they want. Russia gets what they want, and then okay, we sort of narrow it down, and then we sort of
Unfortunately for him,
because sanctions can only hit for so long, can it?
Yeah. Unfortunately for him, he's going to be trial. He will get trialed, whether he goes into hiding at some stage.
Yeah.
But there's no way he can hide forever,
Yeah.
and he would have to stand trial for war crimes.
Yeah, but it's the Russian. Is it only if the Russian people decide to give him up? Because we don't know everything that's coming
I
out
would
of
like
Russia.
to think-
we see clips where they say, oh, the Russian people are not supporting him, or he's not this and we're done. But we don't know, you know what I mean? Because there's also when you get in this war, you go so what you call it is a word up you call it in these wars, you know what I mean? You get sort of, I don't want to say force. It's not force. It's just what is the propaganda?
Yes.
That's it. You get propaganda from both sides in these wars. You know what I mean? So
I would like to think people power is going to topple him.
you don't think so?
No, I would like to think people power.
But they've done
is
that.
gonna do that.
They've had that for many. They've had that in the past, hasn't it?
That's
Russia
right.
has had that in the
Yes,
past.
yes.
You know what I mean? They've had people power in the past.
The last big spell was 8 years ago,
Yeah,
but this has been going on for 88 years.
yeah,
So this is set to go on.
yeah. And there's no ending in sight.
No.
What would you like to see, though? What would you like
What
to
would
see?
I like to see?
Difficult question.
It is.
Yeah.
Apart from peace and love.
You know, man's not gonna do that. Man's too greedy for that. You know what I mean? You know, man's not gonna do that. He's too greedy and he's too haunted for power. You know, he loves power too much and he loves control too much. So he's not gonna talk about peace and love.
He'll continue to flex his muscles.
Of course,
until he gets what he
he's
wants.
been doing it from beginning of time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? He's been doing this to different races from different. Man is just too damn greedy. They've always done that. You know what I mean? So it isn't gonna.
It's coming into that kind of territory. You know what you see out in Korea, all the censorship. He just wants to bully and dictate to his people.
Yeah.
You know, and run them.
I see what you're saying.
You
I see
know?
what you're saying. And I wonder. I mean, like some people are saying, "Oh, Donald Trump would have come into his own now." I heard some people say Donald Trump would have come into his own now.
Yes.
He would, or wouldn't he?
And it's funny you say
Man,
that.
he probably would have gone to Putin, might have a good shot at the other something, ain't
It's
it?
funny you say that because we didn't hear nothing towards the end of last year, and I've read a few stories over the last month.
Oh, about Donald.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
he's
he's
been out and
said a couple of things, hasn't he?
having as I call it, a peep over the wall, see what's going on out there.
Yeah.
So,
He said, I said, would he come into his own now? What
There
you
you
think?
go.
Maybe he just would have gone over to Putin. And I says, because there was always talk about him and Putin being buddies. And there's no confirmation on it, allegedly, you know. So we wonder if he would have come into his own there. He would have gone over to Putin, just like how he went up to Kim Jong-un or whatever, and have a chat with Kim Jong-un. You know what I mean? So you wonder what. And I also wonder what Donald Trump is probably thinking now as well.
Well, if he was in that position, or if he was in power, no.
Both. Well, he would have to be in power, isn't it?
It does make me wonder whether he would have sent troops in by now.
I don't know. It depends on the advice, though, doesn't it?
Yes.
It depends who's talking into the back of his ears, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all the different advice, you know what I mean? And we've seen over the years where different advice has called, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the WMB that wasn't in Iraq, or the WMB wasn't in. We see that was just bad advice, isn't it? You know what I mean? Even Desert Storm with Colin Powell. Colin Powell actually apologized about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we see different things coming into being like that, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. But do you think they have the right? You know, they have the right to do what they're doing?
No.
No.
You know, I still think, as a nation, the Ukrainians will come together, as they are. You've seen what's going on with them picking up arms and, to defend their country.
Do you think?
I think that, the coming together is still yet to be fulfilled.
Do you think the Allies or NATO or the American has the right to go in?
That's going back to what I said earlier, because that would be a real bloody war, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But I got to ask, isn't it? This is what
Yes,
I do.
of course. This is what you know. Yeah.
This is what I do.
But I truly believe that, people power will probably do that.
Yeah.
They'll come together and, it doesn't sit good with me when I see some of the footage that I have seen regarding children picking up arms and fighting and practicing how to shoot.
And this is in Europe.
Yeah.
This is in Europe. We see this. We see this so far back in the Middle East and Palestine, and even in Africa.
Yeah.
This is in Europe. Yeah. How strange.
It seems to be getting closer and closer to where we're at. So I would like to wish them all the best and hope it does come to an end soon.
Well, what if, I mean, we say Putin is bad, but what if somebody else worse than Putin comes in? Because somebody will always...
Unfortunately, there's always somebody that's going to be worse.
Because somebody will always have to rule,
There's always going to be, always going to be somebody.
Yeah.
A little power gets straight to them, and control and power is all they exist on this planet for.
It's ridiculous. The thing I've never sort of understood about this planet, I know people might say, but I mean, I know where I'm come from. I know most of my heritage. However, I am still part of the human race.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't realize this.
I mean, one of the questions I was thinking coming up, as a homegrown Jamaican yourself, you would be first to defend your place. Yeah? Am I right?
Yes.
So they're doing exactly what they think is right.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes back to NATO now, for others to fall into line, that's, a 50-50 ball, so to speak. Should we be getting involved? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the trouble as well, I mean, do you really think the world is ready for World War III after COVID? Because we just had COVID. We just have COVID, didn't we?
That is something else, because COVID started February going into March.
Yeah.
And here we are 2 years on, and he's gone in exactly the same thing.
Is it?
February.
I never met that correspondent. I never met
February.
But COVID started when?
It started February, or started digging its heel in.
Did it start kicking in about the December sort of?
Well, it was,
the year
before it hit the UK as strong as it did.
Oh, yeah. The UK probably started kicking in the
February, March.
The end of 2019 coming in, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And, I mean, from last year, we were talking about the war, because that was started to escalate from last year as well.
Serious.
It was about November when he started doing little threats and, bullying people into, do certain things, do it his way, shall I say. And it just escalated from there.
The interesting thing which we haven't seen, and I say that now there's like propaganda thing, we haven't seen. You see, because for a guy to be doing so much, he has to be supporting. Somebody has to be supporting him.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So for a guy to be doing so much and say he wants to go and take over Ukraine, you know what I mean? You don't just get this on your own.
No.
You know what I mean? Even the power you got, you know what I mean? You don't just get this on your own.
It's no different to...
Who is supporting? How is he being supported from his own people? You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's a very good question.
It is a very good question.
Okay. Here we have. Yeah. You've got the Chelsea manager, or shall I say the Chelsea owner.
Which is your Soulies club, isn't it?
No. Well.
Allegedly today, I've heard.
Today?
Yeah, I've heard.
That's right.
Allegedly today, he's selling the club.
But what was he doing yesterday?
I don't know.
He was selling his houses.
Okay.
He started offloading property.
Okay.
Because I think that was just to take the heat off him.
Yeah.
To start with.
Yeah.
Because of his connection with Putin. And it's backfired because he wanted to give it or pass the ownership over to a charity. Whereas one of them has already resigned and says that you can't do that. Okay. And I think they actually want to dismantle that charity.
I see what you're
And
saying.
now he's come up with another idea to sell the club after he said last week he wouldn't.
Yeah.
So something's going on there. Now you talk about rich owners. Now, as you know, back down in London last week, the Russian billionaires who own property down there,
Yeah, well,
they already started offloading.
yeah.
And they had been sanctioned to start handing over X, Y, and Z. Banks and have been shutting down and going down on them. But yeah, I think they're doing the right thing.
In what context?
Well, basically, if they freeze all their assets,
Yeah.
I would like to know what effect is it going to have on the British
I'm
government.
just gonna say that, I'm just gonna ask you that because I mean, when we a lot of people, a lot of people which we see in the press, we see in social media, and we see in the news that most of London is run by Russian money.
That's right. Yeah.
Everybody says, everybody
yeah,
knows it.
yeah.
Most of London is run by Russian money.
Yeah.
So what effect will it have on
The economy.
on the economy of the UK?
The British economy, we've been coming out to this for the last 2 years plus, and we struggled.
Yeah.
The British economy struggled.
We haven't got this, or we haven't got that, and everything is going up, isn't it?
Well, I said from day one, from 2020, when I was on furlough myself,
Okay.
free money. Somebody somewhere's got to pay it back.
Of course you have to.
And now here we are, 2 years in.
Yes.
Here we
and,
are.
and the Chancellor is putting up all these kind of different things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at the youngsters who thought, like the ones I was working with, and I was thinking, furlough, man, look what money, man. Let's do this, let's do that. Yeah, it's got to be paid back.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
And April hasn't come, like I said.
That's right.
Taxes are going up.
Yeah. I mean, we was talking earlier on about Russia and his support, but I mean, there must be millions of people in Russia that's actually supporting Putin.
Oh yeah, there will be. Yeah. There do have people out there that supports his regime. Yeah, and fighting for what they believe in, and hopefully it doesn't spill out into people abroad that are here, and you do have that. So many of them.
The other thing as well, Now, here's an interesting thing. I mean, jumps in my head. So they're freezing all this Russian money.
Yes.
Where's it going?
Good question.
Where's they're freezing all this? You know what I mean? They're freezing all this Russian money. Let me repeat myself again. They're freezing all this Russian money. Where's it going? Is it just staying in the fridge and get cool or get hard?
Frozen.
That's
Yeah.
They're putting it, is it gonna, are the assets, so the assets as well, what I mean? They're freezing all these assets as well. Is it gonna just stay in the fridge or freeze up, or what's gonna happen with that?
That's a good question. I wish I could answer that one. I'm just totally besotted by the fact that, the freezing these assets, our economy is suffering.
Yeah.
And this time next year, I want to see where we'll be.
Then I see what you're saying. I don't know where we're gonna be.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're gonna be. The other thing is that after they freeze all these assets, at the end and everything settled get back to normal, do they get this money back? Do they get all this asset back, or do they get their money back? Because it's freezing it. So if it's freeze now, what you're supposed to do is just go unfreeze it and get it out the fridge.
Well, if I was a bank, I could answer that. I don't know how that works. Let me check my pocket. But frozen. I can only guess frozen means frozen. It stays still.
It doesn't move.
Yeah.
And so you're not a banker, you're not a financial man, you're not nothing.
No. Frozen means frozen. I can only take it. It's just seizing movement.
And is the talking about freezing? Is the West taking any advantage from this sort of situation? Are they getting any advantage?
What advantage could we take?
I don't know.
Because I watched the game up to yesterday, and they are now saying if you play for certain clubs, Premiership-wise, you're not allowed to adapt to certain stance on the pitch.
Okay.
Now, I think one of the players came on at the end with a Ukraine flag. This weekend, only the captains are wearing special armbands, but they're not going to say too much,
Okay.
you know, regarding their stance and how they feel.
Yeah.
That's as much as I know on that one.
I don't know. My scream is going. It's totally gone here, but it's just going. I don't know how the situation is gonna work. You know, what I mean, it's just gonna be. It's gonna be. It's gonna be a very, very difficult one in,
Yeah.
in the case of
Yeah.
how do you sort of sort this sort of thing out? It's and what is it? It's just March, isn't it? It's March
is.
now, isn't it? And you
I mean, they've had in Coventry, they had a wake yesterday or a
What was that for?
demonstration,
Yeah.
and I think they've got one planned for Birmingham towards the weekend. And as we go around the country, you're going to see so much of those things going on to raise the profile of exactly what they're out there fighting for.
serious.
You know.
And I've heard also, what do you think as well? I've heard also people saying they're going out. You've asked me this before, though, didn't you? People going to Ukraine to fight. And I think they one of the MPs, isn't it? She got slapped down for saying, encouraging people, say they could go to Ukraine to fight. I don't know if you come across it or you've seen
No,
that.
I have
I
not,
think what is it? Is it the Foreign Secretary? No, it's not. Yeah, it's the Foreign Secretary, isn't it? It's not the Home Secretary. It's the Home Secretary is Priti Patel.
Yeah.
Foreign Secretary. I think she was a couple of days ago. She was saying. I think this week she said
Is that Truss?
the lady,
Yeah,
yeah, Truss.
yeah, I know who you
If
mean,
people
mate.
wants
Yeah.
to go to Ukraine, or if Ukraine wants to go and fight, or some people want to go to Ukraine, they can do that. But I think she got slapped down somewhere, and you don't see that poking up what we call
Yeah.
poking it up face anymore so much. You know what I mean? Do you think people should go and fight over there?
I don't think they should,
Yeah.
but you know, that would be down to the individual who decides to do so.
Yeah, but I mean,
One of the things that I can comment on is about the visa applications
yeah,
that has been given out. Now, as you know, the government, they said they weren't giving out no applications, no visa
That's right,
applications
that's right,
for
that's right.
people to come in.
that's right.
They've taken a U-turn.
Okay,
Yeah?
Yeah.
They apparently you can have any member of your family now that can come.
yeah.
So we shall be expecting some new visitors at some stage.
And situation in this country is very tight as well, isn't it?
It
And
is.
I hope,
It's
I
not
know
very
people
good
will
at
not
all.
like me saying that, but it is common sense and it's the reality of things, isn't it?
You
And a
know,
lot of people is struggling in this country at the
Yes,
moment as well.
yes.
We see it food banks.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's gonna rest very easy with a lot of people's mind.
It won't.
You
It
know,
won't.
you know what I mean?
It won't.
Yeah.
My journey coming up here wasn't exactly what I expected to see. You know, having a group of lagerlouts, if you want to call them that, coming down and sitting amongst me on public transport, and you know, are we deemed to have more people like that?
As I say, it's on the houses as well. Houses. You know
The
what I mean?
housing
It's-
situation
a lot of
has
people's not going to talk.
always
A lot of
been-
people's not going to talk about it, but
Yeah,
it is
it's
the
always
reality. You
been
see,
a
people
tipping
houses and
point.
all the rest of it. You know what I mean?
You got
and
the
people,
housing.
People who say they can't get they can't even get what we call. I'm gonna say I don't know if they call it dole money these days or what they call
Yeah,
it. Then.
yeah.
Let's say they can't even get that. You know,
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Or you have to be this and people that. So
That's right.
I mean, I'm not knocking these people, but it is things are very, very tight for people
That's
in
right,
this country
yeah,
at the moment,
yeah.
isn't it?
And it is getting
So
worse.
it's going to get tighter.
Yeah, because I mean,
And
I
what they-
keep on coming back to April,
Yeah,
but you know, there's so many
there's-
changes happening in
Yeah.
April.
yeah. And what they do as well, when you get these people around, you know what I mean, they don't sort of spread them out. You know what I mean? They don't sort of put them. They sort of put them in.
One area.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they sort of put them in an area that is already struggling and desperate anyway. Yeah.
You know, this comes back to Birmingham City Council and terms like that, in terms of how they deal with certain things. And yeah, it's not looking too good. And the journey is set to go on for a lot of people. whether it's housing, homelessness, jobs. It's a wide variety that haven't really been addressed over the last couple of years properly.
Okay. Rudy, let me say thank you for coming. Our
It's
program
been a pleasure.
is coming to a close.
Yeah.
Tell us what you do. Give yourself a plug.
Yeah, I'm a freelance printer. I do banners. I'm registered as a community printer,
Okay.
so I design and print.
Yeah. What sort of thing you do? Elaborate for me, please. Sell yourself.
The banners are for any occasion. From you would have seen the one that was donated by me for Father Blacker.
Father Blacker, yeah.
Yeah,
I see that one.
things like that. Christenings, funerals, weddings, right across the board.
Yeah.
And then, also printing from. I've got a new selection of clocks.
What about telephone number? You got a telephone
A
number?
telephone number,
Quickly.
yeah. I ain't got it on me.
We'll
have
take
to
your
ditch that
telephone
one.
number. Right, guys, let me say thanks to my wonderful guest, Rudy. I'm going to call him Rudy.
Yep.
Thank you for having you, sir.
It's been a pleasure,
Have a great
Coles.
week. Thank you. Quick on the show.
And hopefully, I'll be back with my stuff
Okay,
next time.
thank you. Let me say, guys, thank you for tuning into Breakthrough TV. Don't forget you can catch us breakthroughtv@gmail.com. Don't forget, I want to say big shout out to my good friend Errol Taylor. Big shout out to you, sir. Hope all is getting better with you. Hope very well. My good friends in the United States, Jamaica, how you doing? Canada, how you doing? America, how you doing? Big shout out to all you guys. Thank you for taking part in the program. I'll be back here next week with another brand new program. Catch me on the Drive Time Show, Car with a C, New Star Radio 98.7 FM, www.newstarradio.co.uk. Catch me tomorrow from 3 till 6. Also, Friday on the Drive Time Show, 3 to 6. Big shout out to New Star Radio. Let me say thank you. Have a great week. Look after
On Your
yourself. The
Mind
weekend is here.
Sponsored by ACMC 339 Dudley Road, New Style Radio 98.7 FM, Breakthrough Studios, and Reggae Jam Jam.
Planning an event? Do it professionally. Please contact Breakthrough Event Management Team and get everything under one roof for both indoor and outdoor occasions, birthday parties, bridal and baby showers, anniversaries, funerals, backyard BBQs and more. We offer a video and photography service, marquees, decoration and a PA system to hire, with popular new style radio DJs spinning old and new school hits. Please contact 07584 197 380 and book all your catering needs with Reggae Jam Jam catering service on 0787
244 3765.
And remember, do it good and done.